1. Which of the following best describes the role of Cognitive Academic Language Proficiency, CALP, in language acquisition for adult learners? It focuses on basic conversational skills. B. It addresses higher-level academic language needed for understanding complex concepts. C. It only applies to young learners. D. It is unrelated to academic language development. 2. What is the primary difference between CALP and basic interpersonal communicative skills, bics? A. CALP is informal language, while bics is academic language. Bics is more cognitively demanding than CALP. C. CALP is used for academic learning, while bics is used in everyday conversations. D. There is no significant difference between the two. 3. In the context of adult education, what is the primary goal when integrating CALP into curriculum design? A. To focus on memorization of vocabulary. B. To ensure learners can use academic language in social interactions. C. To teach learners how to engage in complex academic discussions. D. To limit language instruction to immediate practical needs. 4. Which of the following is an important component of evaluating CALP proficiency in adult learners? A. Assessing their ability to understand basic conversational phrases. B. Evaluating their capacity to engage with academic texts and discourse. C. Focusing primarily on their listening comprehension skills. D. Emphasizing grammar exercises over content understanding. 5. A key principle in adult learning theory is that learners bring prior knowledge into the classroom. How can this be applied when teaching CALP? Ignoring learners' existing knowledge and focusing only on new content. E. Building on learners' existing academic language skills and encouraging critical thinking. C. Focusing only on conversational fluency, not academic language. D. Limiting discussions to topics outside the learner's professional experience. 6. Which of the following best describes a culturally responsive approach to teaching CALP? A. Using only standardized materials that do not consider learners' cultural backgrounds. B. Adapting curriculum to incorporate diverse cultural perspectives and academic expectations. C. Focusing on abstract academic content without considering learners' contexts. D. Teaching CALP only through textbooks and lectures. 7. How can mentors effectively support adult learners in developing CALP skills? A. By providing constant corrective feedback on every mistake made during language production. B. By encouraging learners to engage in peer discussions and applying academic language in real-life contexts. C. By focusing solely on reading comprehension exercises. D. By avoiding complex academic tasks until the learner reaches a higher language proficiency level. 8. Which assessment method is most effective for evaluating CALP skills in adult learners? A. Multiple choice tests on basic vocabulary. B. Open-ended questions that require critical thinking and academic language use. C. Simple oral dialogues on everyday topics. D. Listening tests that only assess fluency. 9. What is the most effective method for integrating CALP instruction in an adult education classroom? A. Focusing solely on grammar drills. B. Encouraging learners to engage with academic texts, participate in discussions, and write critically. C. Limiting instruction to vocabulary building. D. Teaching only basic language functions without academic contexts. 10. How can educators foster a supportive environment for learners developing CALP? A. By discouraging mistakes and focusing only on perfect language production. By promoting a growth mindset and allowing learners to experiment with academic language in a low-stress setting. C. By focusing exclusively on grammar exercises without any content discussions. D. By only using formal language, avoiding casual conversational exchanges. 11. What role does scaffolding play in teaching CALP to adult learners? A. It provides learners with opportunities to attempt complex academic tasks without support. B. It helps learners gradually develop their academic language skills by providing temporary support structures. C. It focuses only on personal language fluency without content integration. D. It eliminates the need for content-based instruction. 12. Which of the following best describes how CALP can be assessed during a mentoring session? A. By focusing on simple oral conversations. By providing opportunities for learners to demonstrate academic language proficiency through tasks like debates, presentations, and written analysis. C. By asking learners to memorize and recite academic vocabulary. D. By limiting the assessment to listening comprehension only. 13. How should educators adapt their teaching strategies to meet the needs of adult learners in CALP development? A. By using the same methods as those used for younger learners. By taking into account adult learners' prior experiences, professional backgrounds, and learning styles. C. By avoiding real-world academic tasks until learners demonstrate proficiency. D. By focusing on traditional one-size-fits-all teaching approaches. 14. When mentoring adult learners in CALP, how can educators encourage autonomy in language use? A. By only allowing learners to speak in structured, teacher-led activities. By giving learners control over their learning goals, materials, and tasks, and encouraging independent use of academic language. C. By preventing learners from using complex academic language until they reach an advanced level. D. By offering complete language solutions to all learner questions. 15. What is the role of feedback in the development of CALP in adult learners? A. Feedback should be provided only when learners reach a high level of proficiency. B. Feedback should be specific, timely, and aimed at improving the learner's ability to engage with academic content in a meaningful way. Feedback should focus solely on grammatical accuracy. D. Feedback should be avoided to allow learners to work independently. 16. Which strategy best supports CALP development in a diverse classroom of adult learners? A. Using a single, standardized teaching method that ignores cultural and linguistic diversity. B. Creating opportunities for learners to connect academic language with their personal, professional, and cultural experiences. C. Focusing only on the language of textbooks and formal assessments. D. Limiting language practice to classroom contexts and avoiding real-world language use. 17. In terms of regulatory compliance, what must be considered when assessing CALP proficiency in adult learners? A. Ensuring that all learners are tested under the same conditions regardless of their language backgrounds. B. Aligning assessment practices with standards set by accrediting bodies and ensuring fairness across all learners. C. Focusing on informal assessments without standardized protocols. D. Ignoring any accommodations for learners with special language needs. 18. How can technology be used to support CALP development in adult learners? A. By using language learning apps to focus only on basic language drills. B. By integrating academic resources, interactive discussions, and multimedia tools that engage learners in authentic academic tasks. C. By replacing traditional teaching methods with automated AI-driven programs. D. By using technology solely for language testing and assessment. 19. Which principle of adult learning best applies when teaching CALP? A. Adults prefer passive learning through lectures and presentations. B. Adults learn best when instruction is directly relevant to their professional and personal experiences. C. Adults are less motivated by immediate results and prefer delayed feedback. D. Adults prefer to learn solely through independent study without peer collaboration. 20. How can CALP be applied in workplace settings for adult learners? A. By encouraging learners to use informal language and avoid academic jargon. B. By focusing on academic language skills needed for report writing, presentations, and complex problem solving. C. By limiting the use of academic language to formal settings only. D. By avoiding any academic tasks that might cause stress or confusion. 21. What is a key characteristic of CALP instruction for adult learners with low literacy levels? A. Emphasizing complex academic texts without support. B. Focusing solely on memorization techniques without context. C. Providing explicit instruction in both language skills and academic content with a focus on scaffolding. D. Ignoring learners' challenges with literacy in favor of teaching advanced academic tasks. 22. In a CALP classroom, how can group work facilitate language development? A. By encouraging learners to use academic language collaboratively in discussions and projects, increasing their exposure and practice. B. By limiting group work to basic conversational exercises. C. By focusing group work on memorizing vocabulary lists. D. By requiring all group activities to be led by the instructor. 23. What is an essential aspect of mentoring CALP learners in higher education? A. Focusing only on subject-specific vocabulary without considering academic discourse. B. Guiding learners to independently engage with academic texts and language while offering constructive feedback and support. C. Providing solutions to all academic challenges without allowing learners to problem solve. D. Limiting feedback to a final grade after completing an assignment. 24. How does the adult learner's experience influence CALP instruction? A. Learners' prior academic and professional experiences must be ignored to prevent biases. B. Prior experience shapes learners' ability to process and apply academic language in relevant contexts, which can enhance CALP development. C. Adult learners' experiences are not relevant to CALP development. D. Experience should only be acknowledged after learners reach proficiency.